Hello, everybody. Pop Culture Curator here. So good to see you. I hope everyone is doing well on this Monday night before Halloween. And I'm excited. We're back for another episode of Lost in Space, the original series. We were on season 1, episode 26, All That Glitters. And it's got a fairly prominent guest star, or at least was at the time. And we'll be covering that. I know we're running a little bit late tonight. I apologize, but we'll get through this here pretty quick. I promise. I've been cutting down my my streaming times, and I'm happy for that. I think my last horror stream was maybe 2.5, 3 hours or something like that, which is a record, considering the movie we covered was over 2 hours. So I wanted to thank the due diligence and the patience of everybody in the chat. I know we've had people waiting, probably scratching their head, wondering what's going on. And I wanted to give credit where credit is due. As I say, Lemon Pie says, "Hi, Bob. Hello, Lemon Pie. So good to see you. Glad you could join us." Oh, Dr. Smith, you blew it. Oh, yes. Dr. Smith, yes. We will see a change in Dr. Smith in this episode, I believe. And we have LDG from Free the Net. So good to see you, LDG. I hope you are doing well, sir. LDG says, "Killer intro." Oh, well, if you mean the title, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I like it too. Lemon Pie says, "Hey, Pop, Gorilla, PvP, Jill." And hello, Jim. Jim says hello. I know Jim's probably been busy working all day. Lemon Pie says, "Hi, Jim." Lemon Pie says, "Hey, LDG." And Jim says, "Hail, Lemon Pie." So that's wonderful. Everybody's saying hello to each other. And we've got the wonderful Edge of Time here joining with us. "Greetings from the Edge of Time," says Edge of Time. With cheers and a bunch of symbols and everything like that. So it's so good to see you too. But most of all, of course, importantly, I want to say hello to my co-host here, and especially Gorilla. Thank you for helping me set it up tonight. And
No problem.
Jill for doing the wonderful, fantastic slides as usual. Without her,
You're welcome. My
Without-
house is a little loud right now, but thanks.
that's okay. You're totally fine. How you doing, Gorilla?
Oh, peachy. Just peachy.
Peachy, tell me about it. You've been busy lately. I heard you finished the popcorn fundraiser.
Yeah, kids number 2 in the pack, 38th for the entire southern half of Minnesota, and ranked
Cool.
4,511th nationally.
No, it's very cool. That's great. And gets paid off with a little bit of Halloween tomorrow night and some trick or treating, huh? That's a
Oh
good
yeah,
reward.
I promised to take him to Universal or Nickelodeon Universe.
Where's their Nickelodeon at, or Universal, whatever?
Mall of
close to
America.
you?
Mall of America.
Well, I'm sorry.
It
What's
used to
that?
be Mall of America. It used to be
Mouth
Snoopy Land.
America?
Mall of America.
Oh, Mall of America. Okay, gotcha. Well, that's that big one. I think they filmed Dawn of the Dead there. I know that's kind of a strange way to put it, but yeah, I think they may have filmed the movie Dawn of the Dead there at Mall of America.
Yeah. So it used to be Snoopy Land, but then Nickelodeon, I think, bought it out.
Oh, that makes sense. A lot of kids probably don't even know who Snoopy is anymore, sadly. PvP, how are you doing, PvP?
Not too
No
bad.
Snoopy.
Had a good day actually. Did my short day, my 4 hour day, because I just some Mondays I just don't feel like putting in 9 hours. So I did my 4 hour day, and it flew by actually really quite quickly. So that's always a relief actually when that happens. Because
Absolutely,
my
yeah.
job, well, my job is so repetitive. I just basically do the same thing week after week after week, and it's more boring than anything else, which is fine because I mean, it's not really a tough job. It's actually pretty easy because I've done it for so long, but it does get pretty boring. So
Oh, well, I'm glad you could join us. I'm glad to hear you had half the day off.
yeah, it was a good day.
And good old my good friend Antiderivative Jill, you had a little bit of trouble with your automobile today, I hear.
Yeah, I thought I hit a pothole, but when I looked at my tire, it looked more like I ran over a meat grinder.
What are they doing putting those meat grinders out in the street?
I'm not sure, but everything is okay.
And I had the same issue. I ran over things, and it's like my eye spots them when it's too late. It's like I spot it as my car's running over it. I'm like, I need to start paying attention a little bit more, I guess.
Never even saw it. I still don't know what I ran over.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're okay. At least it didn't cause an accident or anything crazy like that. I'm glad you were able to pull
True.
over.
It only my tire was the only casualty.
Only casualty. Well, I know tires can be expensive now, upwards of $100 starting price. I know at least for my car they are. I think they start with installation about $125. That's for the cheap ones. And
I
I
get a
want
tire for 54.
brand new with a warranty.
Yeah, I'll have my tires come with the Walmart warranty and everything.
Oh God, Walmart warranty. What is a Walmart warranty?
Well, yeah, like when I went and got my tires changed on my caliber before it broke. There, they took $36 off of it because I still had tread warranty on it.
Uh-huh.
So basically, it was covered for like 75,000 miles, and I replaced them at like 70,000 miles or something like that.
Oh, okay. You must have hit something too then for it to go flat prematurely.
No, I didn't go flat. I just needed new tires.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they didn't look at the tread of the tires, they just go by how many mileage is on your car?
That's part of the thread warranty that's supposed to last. They're guaranteed to last this long. If they don't, they'll take so much off your bill for
No, I
whatever.
understand. Well, right, I understand that, but I know I've been to some places where if you don't take care of your tires, in other words, if you don't get them rotated, it voids the warranty.
Walmart
So
don't care.
they'll look at your odometer, and they'll say, yeah, it's like 30,000 miles premature, but you haven't rotated them, which voids the warranty. Some places do that. I guess maybe Walmart doesn't.
These guys at Walmart don't give a crap about that.
That's right. What I like to, but I know this is off topic. I'll make it fast. But I like to go to tire places that I can get there before they open. And that way, when the doors open, I can get in and get out of there. Every time I've seen Walmart, I had a friend that used to go there all the time. There was a big, long line of cars, and you're usually there all day for a tire. And I don't usually have the patience for that. But, some people do, which is totally acceptable. And that's fine. I understand that. Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie says, hey, Edge. Edge of Time says, hi, Pie. And looks like we got a piece of pie. And PM, and now my phone starts going crazy, of course. Jim says 3-star ship. Jim posted a video there. Everybody check that out when you get a chance. And Lemon Pie says, one time I was on a highway and I dodged some large metal barrels. And unfortunately behind me, people were not so lucky. Oh, that is definitely not good. Oh, yeah. Or the old ladder or mattress or box spring. Those are another things you got to watch out for. It's sad when people lose them off the back of their trucks. They just continue right on driving. And leave that to the next person.
What's actually I find sad about that, Pop, is they don't tie the stuff down properly, right? Because when I used to commute to work every weekday, I was horrified at some of the huge items that people would have in the back of their pickups, and no ropes, no straps, no nothing, just bouncing along down the highway, right? So I'd always leave a lot of space, between myself and that kind of vehicle because I didn't want to take a chance, right?
Oh, yeah, I definitely understand that.
Mm.
And Jim says Jill ran over Spike Scotty. Darn Spike Scotty. Lemon Pie. Noon was seriously hurt. It's interesting when I see people use that word noon. I know it's supposed to be no one, but I don't know if there's actually a word called noon. So I always use the word nobody. Or no space one. But I don't know. I'm kind of pedantic when it comes to that. Jim says Scotty had heavy-duty spike suit on, LOL. And Lemon Pie says Texas highways are chock full of meat grinders. Ooh, so yeah, I see what you mean. I guess that means when they totally shred your tire. I definitely know how that is. So, without further ado, I think I covered everybody in the chat. And once again, hello everyone in the chat. Hello everyone on the panel. And now we're going to get started with season 1, episode 26, Lost in Space, All That Glitters. And the description reads, Dr. Smith and Penny obtain a ring that will turn anything to platinum. And I'm sure we all recognize that trope, I guess you could say, or a plot. I'm sure it sounds a little old here. And of course, once again, I have. Go ahead, Gorilla.
Oh yeah, I've seen it numerous times. I think Star Trek had one episode like that. And then Family's Guy's done it, and I think South Park has done it.
Which Star Trek? Well, I know it derives from King Midas, the story of Midas and the Midas touch. But I don't think it was TOS, was it? Not that I know. Of course, my memory only goes as far as TOS.
I might be wrong on
Star Trek actually covered it too.
What?
Star Trek had that plot too.
I thought there was one episode, but I could be wrong.
No problem. We don't need to hold you to the ultimate high standards. Everybody here makes mistakes, especially most of all me. And when I do, I appreciate when people correct me on that.
I don't remember that one either, to be honest, Gorilla. Like,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it sounds a little juvenile for Star Trek, I guess. So I'm going to be reading once again. I'll keep it brief. I'm reading from the book Lost in Space, the authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series by the great Mark Cushman. And we're going to be covering for this episode. I'm going to go straight to the assessment. All That Glitters. Now, remember, this is the opinion of Mark Cushman, the writer of the book, not my own. All That Glitters stumbles right out of the gate. An alien on the run who looks, talks, and behaves like a 20th century American. Seeks asylum in the Jupiter 2 just for the night. You see, until he's rested and can retrieve the treasure he stashed away somewhere. Then we meet the law. In fact, an officer of the Galaxy Law Enforcement Agency, no less. He, of course, speaks English too. And he's played by the actor who was also playing Colonel Klink on Hogan's Heroes at the same time, which I'll throw in. The actor's name was Werner Klemperer, who was brilliant there, but sadly miscast here. This enforcer uses a couple of monsters as hired muscle. Played by the hapless Dawson Palmer. We get again, of course, the guy who played the hillbilly in last week's episode. Dawson Palmer and Mike Donovan inherit creature costumes. They growl a lot. Meanwhile, Dr. Smith has picked up a scent of a hidden treasure. So far, this episode sounds like a typically not so good episode from scene 2. It continues to underwhelm for the first half hour, then things improve for the last half. Barney Slater and Tony Wilson serve up a retelling of the old story about King Midas. As you may recall, Midas turned everything he touched to gold, including his daughter. Similarly, Dr. Smith turns everything he touches into platinum, including Penny. And the script, the story assignment, Barney Slater's first and second draft were turned in on February of 1966. Tony Wilson did a script polish on March 2nd of 1966. This is Barney Slater's 8th Lost in Space script assignment. He had spun an effectively magical allegory with his first Wish Upon a Star, and does so again here during the second half of the story. One thing that Irwin Allen did not care for was the original name of the fugitive from the law. So this is from the script, everybody. Once again, sometimes I read from the script, which tends to be different than what we get on camera. So what Irwin Allen did not care for was the fact that the fugitive's original name was Wohan, Wohan. And on March 1st, 1966, Allen wrote to Tony Wilson, "The name Wohan is not good. Change it. Sounds too much like woman." Wilson wrote onto the first page of the final script polish, "Note, the character name Wohan has been changed to Ohan throughout the script in business and dialogue. This is important." Allen notes to Wilson continue. On page 13, scene 25, Penny mentions the Galaxy Law Enforcement Agency. We have never heard of this before, and it seems strange that no one shows any curiosity or surprise that such an organization exists? Or is it supposed to be well known by space travelers from Earth? Question mark. Page 16, scene 28. Smith's second speech. He should continue the speech with and consider that rather unusual occupation of this Wohan fellow. I think it would be a good idea to check out possessions. We may have been robbed. This will eliminate the unfeminine attitude which Marine's speech has when she questions him as to where he's going. Page 27, scene 41. Marine says it's good to know there's someone they can call on in case of trouble. Yet she never asks Bollocks anything about his organization. Where is he from? How does he know about Earth? If he can help them get back to Earth or Alpha Centauri, where they really are, etc. Page 36, scene 54. This is the last one, guys, so I'm sure you're wondering what's going on. Smith's attitude towards Ohan, staying around the Jupiter 2, has undergone a drastic change since page 13, scene 25. He now suggests that Ohan be careful or he will be apprehended. Why is Smith now so concerned about Ohan's safety? Okay, so now without further ado, we can get started. Are you all ready, Jill? I think Jill may fit the. If that's the case, we'll cover on some chats. Lemon pie, my mistake. No one. Oh, lemon pie, don't have to correct yourself. It's okay. Jim's landscape update. Repair 95% done. Being launched November 6, 2023. And coded Jim. Go ahead. Thank you, Will. I appreciate it.
On Jill's not here, so I'll have to do it. Matt G.
Oh, hello, Matt G. Good to see you.
Even though he doesn't recognize the rest of us, he's only here for Jill.
That's quite all right. At least you bring some fans along, I suppose. I'm not going to knock that.
Kirby, I think you could phrase that a little bit differently. Jill is yanking that meat grinder out.
Oh boy!
Darn meat grinder.
You can probably phrase that a little bit differently.
Oh gosh, that's funny. It looks like Jill's back now.
Oh, Jill, we had something for you. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, hey, Matt G. Matt G.
Yeah, did you see what Scurvy put?
Scurvy? Show me. Oh, yeah, Jill. Yes, I did. It's all right now.
Yeah, and welcome,
and I'll
Suzanne.
get to make sausages later.
Yeah.
Nice.
Welcome. And he says others. And he says hi to me. Hi.
Hello, Suzanne. Good to see you.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi. Hello. Hiya. Hail. I didn't expect my last comment to be such a hit. That's just the way you phrased it, though, Scurvy. All right, we ready?
Eyes ready. Are you ready, Jill?
Sounds like it to me. I'm ready. Yeah.
Here we are.
Ready and ready to go.
Last week, as you recall, we left the Robinsons with the men leaving apparently on a trip to discover some hard to find water. So they've got a drought going on, and the men leave, leaving the women and Dr. Smith in charge. So we have our recap here, and this is, by the way, I want to mention too, one of the few times that we're going to see the actual Jupiter 2 on set, on stage, within a sound stage. And I appreciate it because it seems like I know in hindsight, because I've seen all this show before, we're going to see less and less of the Jupiter 2. So anytime we do see it, I really appreciate it. I think it's a mechanical piece of work. Yeah.
What?
I guess I should have warned about the spoilers.
Well, actually,
no, it's not. Well, it's fine, but
actually, don't despair, Jill, because there is quite a bit of the Jupiter 2 in season 3. Actually,
Well, that's
Because we
true.
do. We get to travel to a bunch of different planets in season 3, right? So we do see a lot of shots of the Jupiter 2 in space, which is cool.
Jupiter 2 in space?
Oh yeah, it flies to like 7 or 8 different planets in season 3, I think.
Are you
Well,
sure you're
that's good,
thinking about the
Joe.
Jupiter 2 and not the, well, I don't want to give away spoilers, but I think you might be talking about something else.
Oh, it's
Nope,
a
the
different
Jupiter.
ship. It's
Oh,
one
wait,
they
wait, wait,
had.
wait, wait. No. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the chariot.
Oh, the
The
chariot.
chariot. Oh, okay. That's not as
Oh.
dramatic as the Jupiter.
Oh,
Yeah,
Two.
that,
yeah, it's like stupid me. Yeah, I'm talking about the chariot. It
that
seems like
changes things.
right. I apologize, but I'm sure you guys notice we're seeing less and less of the chariot, and that's what I was talking about.
Uh,
Because
I do like the
oh,
chariot, but it doesn't hurt as much.
yes, yeah, because it wouldn't make any sense. Where's the Jupiter 2 going to go? Right? It's like duh. But no, yeah, I always loved the design of the chariot, and it seems like we see it less and less, and I kind of missed that. So I thought it was nice to see it again. So what I meant was it's rare to see the chariot on set inside of a soundstage. A lot of times when you see the chariot moving, it's scenes they filmed on the exteriors that double as the alien planet. And anybody remember the name of the planet we're on?
Pre-Planus.
Because that's it.
It's
Pre-Planus.
from a bad batch of Coke.
From one episode, we get the name of the planet, Pre-Planus, Return to Earth. And we have Dr. Smith and Penny are hunting down berries for pies. And unfortunately, of course, as usual, Dr. Smith is not exactly doing the heavy part of the lifting or the work himself. And he's eating the berries as fast as they can pick them. And Penny warns him that Mom's going to be disappointed when she finds out they're only going to have enough berries for one space pie.
Yeah, we had this. That's a common trope in a lot of shows too, because we just had that on the Waltons here not too long ago.
What's that?
Oh, them out picking berries and that half of them get eaten. Oh, they're picking them.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, plus the Waltons. Go ahead, Joe.
No, that's okay. Continue.
Well, I was just going to say the Waltons were farmers, so it makes sense.
Well, I just wanted to say that again. Dr. Smith is using a child as a shield. Usually, it's Will.
You just will, but I guess anybody will do, right?
Well, yeah, that's the one thing, Dr. Smith there. At first I thought he's gonna have a good plan there. There you go, slowly back away, then run, but then he just takes Judy, or no, that's not Judy.
Penny.
Penny and grabs her. It's like,
well, he does plan on running, but Penny's the one that says no, and stays in place. So that's why he does stay behind. And plus, as we all know, that the actor Jonathan Harris always liked to mug in front of the camera, and he wanted to make sure he was on the camera in every scene. So of course he's not going to run without her. So yeah. So Penny says no, she's not going to leave. She feels sorry for this guy. She sees that his clothes are all tattered and torn. And because, of course, she has sympathy, Dr. Smith has none.
Yeah.
Well, Penny always is a sympathetic character when she gets any scenes right, it seems. So.
Right.
And right here, this is the reason for my subtitle right here. This scene here, Mama Bear comes out and they put him in space and go, oh, come on, just get behind us, Dr. Smith. Let woman handle this. And then they go out hunting for this guy.
And this is great, yeah, because we get to see the women do some action for a change. This is the first time in the whole season. We even get to see a Marine fire the laser, which is incredible.
Yeah, I love that's one thing that boosted this episode for me. Like some of the basic story, I didn't find too interesting, but I really liked how they finally featured the women in the cast, as a major part of the story, actually, doing something like this.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
And it did nothing to the creatures there. They're like, oh shit, let's go.
Right?
Yeah, it was like a tickle.
Yeah, can we? Oh well, yeah. I suppose we can skip this shit, but I want to catch up on chats here. Welcome, Phantom Boomer. Welcome,
Phantom Boomer. Good to see you there. Did I skip some chats? If I did, I apologize.
No, you didn't. I'm going through them right now. And there's everybody saying hi to each other. I thought there was more. But
Oh,
there's
I
one
see. We
that
have a bot in the channel. Okay, but it's on Twitch, so people can't see it. So that's good. Okay, go ahead.
no, yeah, that's the one I told you to skip. Yeah, everybody's just saying hi. I thought there was more chats. All right, we're good.
So what did you
Marine?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. Well, I was just going to mention quickly. What did you guys think of the monsters in this one? I'm just curious.
I was thinking, haven't we seen one of them or seen them before?
Yeah.
Well, the last 3 episodes have had aliens or monsters that look like werewolves. One of them
Yes.
was sentient, and then the last episode had a werewolf. So this is kind of similar, although a little bit more cousin it.
I just kind of thought like I kind of preferred some of the aliens in the early part of season 1 because
Oh.
I thought these were pretty basic costumes they had. Really,
Yeah.
basically
I
just
wanted to
furry
say.
suits.
Yeah. Oh, I want to say welcome to Basil Battle Dragon.
Hey, Basil, good to see you.
Hello.
Hey, Basil.
Hmm.
All right, we're all caught up.
Harry Harris returned to direct his second of 5 episodes for Lost in Space. He said Irwin loved fantasy, loved to frighten people with monsters and throw hits into people for suspense. The saying was, in a way, Pooch, not now. The saying was, in a way, science fiction, but really it was science fiction and it wasn't. It was fantasy. Werner Klemperer, which we'll be seeing on screen here really soon, who, as I mentioned, was in the first season of filming Hogan's Heroes at the time, was 45 when he signed on for a trip into fantasy as intergalactic enforcer Bollocks. Irwin Allen was fond of Klemperer. Hold on a moment. I apologize.
That's okay. We never really find out where this. Well, I guess we do know where the intergalactic enforcer is, but who says he's in charge of so much of the galaxy? Like, I'm in charge of 1,000,000, whatever he says.
What
Right.
1,000,000 miles of space? What? But if you think about it, so basically he's in charge of around what planet there because it's 93 million miles to our thing there. Unless he meant a million light years. It's like 93 million to our sun alone.
Right. Do you think you would have a little bit larger team out hunting for the guy if it was really that important, I guess, right?
Well, he was supposed
Yeah.
to be stalking him.
Yeah, you'd think so. Yeah.
Larry Ward.
Yeah,
played-
you know what? You're right,
go ahead.
Gorilla. It does say miles. That's nothing.
Hell, our moon alone is what 250. That big generous.
Million?
No, 50,000.
Thousand?
That's being
Yeah.
generous.
Yeah, for a galactic police force, that's a pretty small territory, I gotta say.
It must be really close to this other planet.
That's pretty.
It's
funny.
right next door. They're neighbors. They should be in contact with them all the time.
Hey, maybe the Galactic Police headquarters is on the moon.
Well, then maybe what he could have said is he's guardian of that sector, right?
That's what he should have said. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that
that
would've
might have
made
made
more
it.
sense.
Yeah, that might have made a little more sense. That way, it would make it this galactic enforcement, galaxy law enforcement agency a lot larger, without having to actually show everything. I guess.
Mm.
And we have where the women make it back to the Jupiter 2 and they holster their guns. Fortunately, Marine is able to turn on the force field just in time to prevent the 2 hairy monsters from attacking the Jupiter 2.
I have to step away, but I was just so happy because the force field is working for once. But I will
know,
be right
right?
back.
Go for it, Jill.
Now,
Now,
the one thing,
go ahead, Gorilla.
the one thing I have noticed though is their guns are like way too big to be effective. There to pull out of a holster in an emergency. They're like way too big. Like
They are kind of bulky. And you notice, too, that when we get to show the guard on Officer Bullock's. It looks like the same lasers. They're just painted slightly different. So yeah, they didn't really go through the effort of building different weapons for the law enforcement.
Yeah, well, the phasers on Star Trek were much, much more, awesomely designed than the lasers on Lost in Space.
I'm
That's
still
for sure.
depends on which. Are you talking about on the original series?
Yeah, TOS. I like the phaser
Okay.
too. It's
Right,
more
but
than
right,
phaser
well,
one.
right. I think Gorilla's hinting to. You mean the cage, or you mean after that? Because you mean after that,
No,
because the
no.
cage they look more like on Lost in Space, right?
Yeah, after the cage. Yeah.
Well, no, like TNG totally redesigned them. I'm still laughing
Oh
at
God,
first.
you mean the Dustbusters? God, I
Yeah.
hated those damn things.
Well, you should have seen the first season one. It looked like a little key fob you pull out of your pocket. I was like, how many of them accidentally shot their foot off, pulling out the
I
little
know,
key
right?
fob out of their pocket?
Those Dustbusters were idiotic. I'm sorry, no offense to people that like TNG, but that's another thing that
Oh,
I totally forgotten about were the Dustbusters that they had, and those were
oh,
ridiculous.
yeah, TOS's looked way better, but I'm still laughing at the season one. It just looked like my key fob, like I got for my car there. It's like you pull out of your pocket, you're gonna accidentally shoot your foot off.
Right. Another thing I noticed with TNG was the beam of the phasers was a lot slower, easier to dodge. And I never figured that out because it's like technology wise, they went back in time. It seems like to me the phasers from TOS were much more advanced than the ones from TNG. And I never figured that. I don't know.
Yeah, TNG's not aged well as far as I'm concerned. It's TOS I can watch a million times. TNG not so much.
Right. Well, of course, we had the excellent people working on TOS too.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right. I don't know. I didn't
yeah.
even like the design. I hate it, guys. I'm sorry, guys. No offense, but I didn't even like the design of the Enterprise in TNG.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, me neither.
I'll say this chat for when Jill gets back.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah. Hey, but Boomer says with the Dustbusters, you can disintegrate the bad guys and clean up the mess.
That is true, right? They should have showed him switching from phaser to suck.
Actually, I wish they had a scene like that. That would have been hilarious.
It would explain it, right? Because I remember when I first saw them, I was like, "What is this?" Oh, they can't be serious.
Yeah, really.
It's
Yeah,
like the
they
designer said, making sure it looks just like it's 80s. It's got to look like it's 80s.
and it did
It's
look
like,
like a dustbuster. Now that you mentioned it, Pop, it really did, didn't it? Wow.
it was a dustbuster.
Yeah.
The whole design of it. Yeah, I was like, what?
They probably just went out and bought them off the shelf, and
Well, it wasn't literally a dustbuster, but it's like somebody was, the designer was sitting around their office. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And they saw a dustbuster sitting in the corner and go, "Oh yeah, I'll do that. That's it. I'll make it look like that. I'll just make it a little bit smaller."
yeah, really, yeah.
I
Yeah, I know.
because when TNG was out, I did buy one. A toy prop, whatever.
Oh yeah.
And so I got one in my hands to actually look at it. But yeah, I would say it was 85% a dustbuster, 15% maybe a phaser.
Mm. Actually, I never cared for the design of much of the stuff in Next Generation. Even the bridge, I didn't think.
Oh,
I
the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I just thought it looked weird. Like it, I don't
The
know. It was
hotel lobby is what it looked like, in my opinion.
well, it's too damn big for one thing. Because if you had an emergency, if you got a new battle, you'd be running all over the place trying to get to the next console, right? Like,
And the beige, that horrible bland beige tan,
oh.
whatever that was.
Well, I think Gene Roddenberry wanted to make the show kind of bland compared to the original series. At least that's the way it seemed to me, because it was pretty bland.
Well, it was because the '60s, as we've said before, was trying to push color TVs.
Mm.
So the networks wanted to push color, so we got color. But by the time the '80s came around, they were like, "Who cares about color? Just do it." And it was like, so they could have kept in a little bit color. I know the at least the uniforms in TG brought back the red and blue and all that kind of stuff, I guess, which
That's
was
true.
okay. But
The only
Yeah,
thing
they did, and they just switched things around a little bit so that the red shirts now wore gold.
yeah, that part always kind of bugged me. It's like you got the captain wearing red. It's just like, I don't know. It just seemed a bit weird.
Oh, Jill, we had a comment for you.
There we go, Jill.
Okay, hold on.
She said, Scurvy here says Jill has to check on those sausages she's making with that meat grinder.
Yes, that's why I had to step away.
Now, Jill, you're not talking about actually handmade sausages with the skins and all that, are you?
Yeah, no, I was just joking. It was just part of the ongoing joke of my tires, but
Okay.
that's what's happening.
The meat grinder.
I wish this snow would have held off for about another 10 hours.
Or you got snowing there?
No.
Oh, snowing with 30-mile-an-hour winds there. It's
You got
cool.
wow.
We got reduced to visibility and all that, but it's all gonna be cleared up by the time I go to work. Damn it!
Oh, well, sorry to hear that.
Wow.
Or you'll get more snow later.
I hate
We
getting
won't get
snow
any
in
down
October.
here.
Oh, we'll
Get
send
any
it to you,
snow
Jill.
this year though in October.
Please do, or at
I
least make a snowman and make a short.
Right, make a snowman this time. You owe us, Gorilla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were going to make one last year, I remember.
Yeah, I'll make sure to put the carrot in the wrong spot too. All right, I'll be right back. My supper's ready.
Oh, brother.
So here's where we have the force field comes on, and just in time, just scare away the monsters that howl a lot. I don't know if they're really dangerous. What's odd is too, is I know they they didn't really have a lot when it comes to directing. They didn't have a lot of the actors who played the monsters to do. But I think it's odd that, and we'll see that as we cover this episode, that during a lot of times where they're speaking to the intergalactic officer, the monsters just literally just stand there like people. And I thought that was kind
And
of.
you're right. They kind of just, and when they do something, it's still just a bear hug, like from the last episode.
I know it, right? Yeah, we were talking about that with the werewolf. It's like, oh, he just wants a little bit of love. That's all.
Maybe the monster's job is just to like grab people and hold them to be, arrested and taken back to wherever they're going to take them back to, perhaps.
That's true. Maybe their orders are bring them back alive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they're declawed.
That must be it. And defanged.
Defanged.
What
If
is
they
it
have
with Penny
fangs.
in this episode? She doesn't really seem to be using much common sense. She's like,
No, she's
okay,
actually-
this is
Right. She's doing everything wrong. Right. The first thing
this
you
is
wouldn't
a
do is
criminal.
to bring a stranger home to your house, and then you think Maureen would be chastising her for that.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, Dr. Robinson would.
Of course, like, what are you doing bringing this guy back? You don't know what could go on. He could be sabotaging our ship for all we know.
Yeah. Oh, I got mad with my friend there. She brought someone over. I thought she knew her and all that. And the lady was talking all that. And I was like, well, I asked like who it was, and she gave me the name and all that. I thought it was someone she knew, That turned out it's just some lady she picked up on the side of the road that was running away from her husband or something.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. That reminds me, I had that happen once too. I had a friend come over with a couple people, and I thought, okay, I know my friend. I don't know who those two people are. And it was a man and a woman. And they went in the bathroom together. I was like, what is this? And I asked my friend, I said, who are they? I don't know them. How do you know them? Well, I just met him down the street. Yeah, they said they were looking for a place to hang out. I said, what? They stole all my stuff out of my bathroom, like all my health and beauty aids and, like soap and shampoo. And
Oh, man.
I still remember that. And I got after my friend for that. I said, what the hell are you thinking? Of course, I said a lot worse than that.
I can imagine. Yeah. Jeez,
Well-
that would be annoying. Very annoying.
My I can't remember exactly how they're related. I think they're my dad's cousins or something up in the cities. I think that's how they're related to us. But they came home, they seen someone sleeping on the couch. They just saw it was one of their kids' friends, that crashed at their place. Just stuff out of the ordinary, to have their friends over sleeping over, And so they went into the bedroom and went to bed and all that. They wake up, they went in there having breakfast and all that. And some guy wakes up, goes, "Hey, thanks for letting me crash on your couch. You just left."
Jeez.
So the guy just broke into their house, or did they leave the door open, or?
No, they left their screen door unlocked.
Oh, never leave your door. I never leave my door unlocked.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, you live in a big enough town, you don't do that.
Yeah, like here, I'm not allowed to lock the door. So it's interesting, yeah,
Well, it's a
because
different world now because back in the '60s when I was a kid, everybody left their doors open. Most of the time, right?
oh yeah,
Like
and me
it
being
was
from
crazy.
California, it was an absolute must-have. You never left anything unlocked.
Well, I can
But
remember
he,
like I'd go away with my parents for the day, like shopping, and we'd leave the doors unlocked, and we'd come home, and nobody had ever gone into our house. Like everything was still where it should be.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, we're getting a bunch of person turquoise waving,
Anyway.
person turquoise waving, and welcome,
Oh.
Germ. Welcome, Resolute Germ.
hello there, good to see you. Oh, not a phone call. We're back at a phone call, guys. Sorry.
All right.
Yep. Penny is being kind of naive in this episode, isn't she?
Well, she's always naive. She's
Yeah, but not this naive. I mean, this is like a bit over the top, even for Penny.
No, you're right. Actually, she's not the naive one. Usually it's Will who's the one who's way too well, he's younger, so he's more forgiving and more willing to see what's going on and be curious. And Penny's the one who's like, maybe we should go back. Maybe we need to tell our parents. And it's Will who's like the rambunctious one trying to have an adventure. And usually but Penny usually follows Will anyway, but she at least makes an effort. And in this one, she's without Will, she's basically both characters in one for no reason, just for
That's
that
a
reason.
good point. Yeah, she is almost like both characters, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Hmm.
hey, BVP, you want to read this one from Scurvy?
Sure. PvP lures strangers into his apartment with eggnog.
Got some Jeffrey Dahmer vibes right there.
Well, yeah, but that's a joke that Lemon's making, of course.
Yeah.
At least if it isn't, I'll never admit to it.
Now watch down those with eggnog, huh?
Oh, jeez.
Hey,
I gotta
welcome.
say though, Lemon's getting good mileage out of the eggnog jokes.
Hey,
Hey, Cody guy.
yeah, welcome, Cody guy. Welcome.
Hey, oh, Cody, so good to see you.
Yeah. Now, can we just say, like, why do you put him in my bed? He's so dirty. Oh, come on. He had a shower and he used some of your clothes because I figured you wouldn't mind. Out of everybody,
Right.
Dr. Smith are that bug the most.
And that's a good point. Thank you for reminding me. And we'll see that here when he comes out. Is you guys will notice that, and I covered this in a previous episode, that the suit or clothing that Ohan wears when he comes out, that's the suit that Jonathan Harris despised. Remember, I was mentioning that a few episodes back.
Oh,
Then when
that's a
they're-
creative way to get rid of it.
Yes. So in a few episodes back, it was when you guys remember the episode where they changed costumes, and we were talking about how they did that in anticipation of the color episodes. And when the costume designer made them light colors, Jonathan Harris hated that because he said, well, first of all, I want the villain to be wearing dark. He should be wearing dark. And he said, second of all, he said it showed off his big butt and sloped shoulders. So that's why there was only one episode where Dr. Smith wore those clothing until he yelled at the costume designer. And then they redesigned his costume to what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
So it was a good way, like Jill said, to get rid of those. They still had those costumes laying around. And it's funny that that's what Ohan happens to put on was that one suit that Dr. Jonathan Harris hated. So we don't have to worry about seeing that again. And it's a good excuse not to see it again, I suppose.
Hey, now, is that the guy you said played Colonel Klink?
That's right. Werner Klemperer.
Yeah.
Now, I did not know this, but the first thing I saw when I seen him talking to Maureen was, I know nothing? And
well, that's not him. That's actually a different character named Schultz, played by John Banner.
Yeah, Sergeant Schultz.
But
the big fat guy.
But that is the right show though, Gorilla. You are right about the show.
Yeah, that's like the most famous scene from that. It would have been perfect if Maureen would just scrolled her shoulders and kind of just stole those lines. As kind of like a homage to it.
Right. And I want to put this a note in for the actor. Werner Klemperer was 45 when he signed on for a trip into fantasy as intergalactic enforcer Bollocks. And I think that's interesting, the word Bollocks, because we all know what that means in the UK.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
mention
did
that.
they
Yeah.
censor this in the UK?
No,
Well,
it's spelled differently. Bolix.
it's spelled differently, but it's kind of a kind of a curse word.
A play on
I
words,
don't
I
know
guess
what
you could
Pollock
say.
I know.
in UK, so
Yeah.
BS.
okay.
Right.
There's a
That's how they say. We say BS here, and they say bollocks in the UK.
yeah. There's a very
Irwin
famous
Allen was.
punk
Go
band that
ahead.
had the word bollocks on their album title.
Uh-huh.
Irwin Allen was fond of Klemperer, having hired him to stand in for Theodore Mercuse as Dr. Gamma in the Boys to the Bottom of the Sea pilot film, starring Walter Pidgeon, that is.
Yeah.
Then featuring him prominently as another villain in the series' first season, the 64 episode The Blizzard Makers. Kemper often played bad guys. He had the look for it and was cast as a Nazi on trial for war crimes in the magnificent, I'm putting that word in, 61 film Judgment at Nuremberg, starring Spencer Tracy, that is. Then he broke out of the typecasting in the fall of 1965 on CBS as bumbling Colonel Wilhelm Klink, commandant of German prisoner of war camp Stalag 13. CBS liked the idea of Klemperer guest starring on another of its series, even if the role didn't seem an ideal match for him. As Colonel Klink, Klemperer would win 2 Emmy Awards plus 3 additional nominations as Bollocks. Well, Klemperer took home $2,500. And I wanted to also mention his dad was a famous orchestra conductor. That's where he basically got his start, was from his father. I saw him in an interview on Johnny Carson. And the monocle that he wore, as I'll mention this really quick, when he played Colonel Klink, he wore a monocle. And he was famous for that. He always had that monocle, and whenever he was surprised, it would fall out of his eye. And he cherished and loved it, and it was stolen off the set. And eventually somebody replaced it and gave him another one. And he brought it with him when he was on The Tonight Show. You can look for the clip on YouTube. Okay, so enough about Werner Klemperer for now. But yeah, in real life, he was actually a very nice guy, they say. And I think that's the reason why he's wearing that, obviously, which is a hard hat. That's like a hard hat like you wear around a construction area, just painted silver. And I think that's the reason why he's wearing that, is so that we don't recognize him too much as Colonel Klink, because obviously he was bald. So without that hat, he would be like, everybody would be, well, immediately, that's Colonel Klink, that's Colonel Klink. So that's the reason for the hat, I'm guessing.
Makes sense.
And he's obviously there. We have Bollocks, who's there looking for Ohan. And Maureen explains to him that Ohan is no longer there. And he's telling them that they could be charged for aiding and abetting. Larry Ward played Ohan. He was 41, and he had the lead as a lawman in the 62-63 Western series, The Dakotas. Casting director Jody Augusta would bring Ward back for a 1966 episode of The Time Tunnel. So that's a little bit of history on those two. And of course, at just perfect time. That's where Maureen says we're not going to be treated like a gang of criminals. And you notice here, by the way, Werner Klemperer also played in The Twilight Zone, amongst other things. But here he's playing more of a straight role, I would describe as a straight role. More serious, even though this is Lost in Space, obviously. But when you see him as Werner Klemperer, as Colonel Klink on Hogan's Heroes, it's a much more comedic role. He's much more animated. In fact, I would almost compare him to like the Dr. Smith of Hogan's Heroes, is how he acts on that show. So here he acts more sinister, a little more straight, and here we have the monsters standing around. If I told the director, I would have said, just move around, do something. Or, in hindsight, I would have said, have Bollocks tell them to go back to the ship or something like that. Just either way, where they're not just standing around on camera.
Yeah, they're kind of sad sack looking monsters, actually, Pop. The way
I guess they're waiting for the next order.
Yeah.
And here we have the device that Ohan left behind as a secret. That is not for Penny to hide for him, not tell anybody yet. Of course, of all people, she's going to give her a secret to Dr. Smith. And
that's another thing you learned in this episode. Never tell Penny anything unless you're sure you don't need it to keep it a secret.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very Penny-like to me. Like her character is really kind of badly written in this
Right.
one.
Or if it's something you want to make sure everybody knows, just tell Penny, hey, it's a secret, Penny. Then you know the word will get out for sure. And as Dr. Smith and Penny are wondering what this device is, I want to explain the voice because the device is going to start flashing and we'll get an ominous voice coming out of the sky. The voice is done by Theodore Lehman, who also provided, or let me put it in context of the book. Theodore Lehman provided the voice of the glowing object that Smith uses to find the treasure. Lehman had appeared on Lost in Space once before as one of the aliens invaders from the fifth dimension. So that was the episode where they had the bulbous heads and no mouths. And they actually had objects that were similar to the one in Dr. Smith's hand, but they were larger. And of course, Maureen is talking about how Alex is a bully. And of course, if you look closely, you can see the wire going through Smith's middle fingers there. It feeds the power to that object in his hand. So this is before we had batteries that were small enough to be able to, now we would use watch batteries as they're called. But obviously that was actually powered. And you can see the wire running up between his fingers.
So it would just run up his shirt sleeve and there'd be like a larger battery pack strapped to him someplace, I'm guessing.
Battery pack. Yeah, the difference is we don't know if it was AC or DC. I'm guessing probably DC because it was so small.
Okay.
Probably even hooked up to a flashlight. And somebody with a button who was activating the flashing off and on.
Makes sense.
So here's where the voice tells them that basically there's a hidden treasure. And this device is going to lead them towards that treasure.
I was missing the robot, so I was glad to have the disembodied artificial intelligence.
And I'm glad they did mention, because I'd forgotten they did mention that the game, because it was going through my mind as they did it. Because when Dr. Smith starts saying where it gets warmer, I was thinking, oh, that's like the old game Hot Potato. And then that's when Dr. Smith says, this is like hot potato, cold potato.
Yeah. Then it just burns him. It burns him.
Right. He gets so close to wherever the, quote, treasure is. It gets too hot for him to hold, and he drops the device into the sand, which is the last time we'll see it.
Yeah. And Scurvy here is going, Sandra Bullock's? Question mark?
Sandra Bullock. I think is her name, Bullock, but it's close.
She was on Beverly Hills 90210, wasn't she?
No. She's the one that was the movie actress. She was in Speed, and then she was in. That's when I stopped watching her. But she's been in other movies. The Longest Mile, the one with the football player. I can't remember.
The Longest Yard.
No, that was with Burt Reynolds, wasn't it?
No. There was a remake with Adam Sandler.
No, she's in one where they're a white rich family and they adopt a black football player.
Okay.
I just don't remember the name.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
She's Miss Congeniality.
That's one with William Shatner. Wasn't he in that too?
Was he? Yeah, probably.
I think so. Because I thought it was an odd role for him. But yeah, he was in.
Yeah, you're right. He was.
Oh, you're thinking of Blindside.
That's it, Blindside. That was one with the football player. Yeah. But she got her start out. Anybody remember where she got her start? What movie where it said introducing Sandra Bullock? And that was The Return of the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman. She actually played their daughter, the Bionic daughter or whatever. So that was her first role. I still have that on my server.
Okay. And then Edge of Time here says, it goes straight to your noggin so you can get scroggin.
And I was right. Quick mention that I was looking it up because I didn't get a chance to during Jill's stream last week. But we covered TOS, the episode, if I pronounce it right, Ellen of Troy.
Lana of Troy, yeah.
Right. And I was right. One of the guards standing outside her door was Dick Durock, who went on to play Swamp Thing in the 80s. That was his premiere role, apparently, introducing. That was, yeah, his very first acting role. He went on to eventually play Swamp Thing in the 80s movie with Adrienne Barbeau, and then the sequel, unfortunately, with Heather. I can't remember her name. The horrible movie Swamp Thing 2. And then he starred in the USA TV series of Swamp Thing. But it was like, oh, nice. So he premiered. His very first role was in Star Trek. I thought that was cool.
I always thought Ellen of Troyes was kind of a fun little play on words of Helen of Troy kind of thing.
Exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. So Dr. Smith, by using that first device that he had in the palm of his hand, when it got too hot, he dropped it, which led him to this ring here. And if Dr. Smith hasn't learned anything, it's don't put on alien equipment. But of course, the first thing he does is try it on. Why not? So he puts it on his wrist, and nothing seems to happen. He even extends both arms to see if anything happens, and nothing happens.
That's a good still.
Did anybody obviously know that was something to go around the neck? Obviously.
Well,
I knew it because I've seen it before. Yeah, I know it because I've seen it before. But as a kid, I don't remember how long it took me to realize. I don't remember if it was instantaneously or if it was. But you could tell it was obviously the size to go around your neck.
Yes, it was pretty clear to me, Gorilla, too.
So, yeah, there you go. That's what I would say that was probably my answer, too, when I was younger. So he does. He finds a catch on it, opens it up, places it on his neck. Just as he does that, Ohan comes from around the corner from behind a rock. And Smith hurries up and hides it inside the collar of his shirt. Good thing they wear turtlenecks on this show, I guess. And here he is making excuses to Ohan. And he's telling Ohan he doesn't know. He says that Penny has it hidden somewhere aboard the ship and she's in bed. And that he'll meet him tomorrow at this time to return it to him. And as he does that, Ohan disappears and takes his word for it. And there's the click shut. And now we have Dr. Smith all pleased with himself back at the ship. And he offers Maureen a flower, which happens to be growing right outside the ramp of the ship. And she appreciates it. She likes it. She hands it back to him. And he does say that it seems to have lost its scent. And as he does that, he drops it, and it turns to platinum when it hits the ground. And here we have the next morning, and he seems really beside himself with joy. And of course, I guess I know this is a mistake, but I don't know. I'm sure you guys probably thought about it, but supposedly this necklace is not in full force, or it's not actually working yet because he's able to touch that sandwich and take a bite out of it with no issues. But now that he's pleased with himself and he knows he's obtained the treasure, of course, like in true Dr. Smith fashion, he goes and he finds a very simple campsite of the Galactic Law Enforcement Officer, which is apparently just a shade and a table. I guess he doesn't have a
theory about why the sandwich doesn't change. It's that the box told him, make sure you're not greedy about it. And so when it's clear that he's going to betray the thief and be greedy about it, that's when everything starts changing. And before, maybe just objects that you intend to change.
That does make sense. Thank you for explaining that. That's also straight out of the King Midas story. It's when he got greedy is when everything started changing, because at first everything did not. So that's a good point. I'm glad you thought about that, Jill.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even remember the actual story. But if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes here too.
Right. At the beginning, just like this, he's more surprised than anything else. And then once he realizes what it does, he starts changing everything into gold. And then that's when everything starts falling apart. So, yeah, you're right about that.
Very good theory.
And, of course, Bollocks is confused because it's not within Dr. Smith's character to turn the bad guy in. So he figures there's something else going on here. And now we have later on that evening where, as planned, Ohan returns in search of that device, and it's approximately 10 p.m. But we have Bollocks is waiting behind him from behind a rock. And Bollocks surprisingly throws a stick, knocking down. I'm sorry, Ohan throws a stick, knocking down Bollocks. And then he starts attacking Dr. Smith. And when he does that, the two monsters come in and are able to apprehend him.
So
And-
Ohan doesn't turn into platinum here, so it's, according to Jill's theory, I'm guessing that he's not totally greedy yet.
Probably so, yeah. You're right, because he would have. So Dr. Smith figures, well, now the whole business with Ohan and Bollocks and the monsters and the intergalactic agencies behind him, they're gone, heading back to jail. So now we have the next day where Dr. Smith is more than pleased with himself by showing off his newfound powers to the Robinson family. And of course, the first thing he does is he turns a platter into platinum. And I like the fact that, as we've seen before, the Robinsons are not greedy. So when he offers to pretty much start turning everything into platinum, they're not very excited. So he decides he's going to change his own eating utensils for himself, which he does.
Platinum couldn't have been worth that much, could have it?
It's worth more than gold.
Oh, it's
Oh.
worth a lot. But it wouldn't do you much good on an alien planet, I'm guessing.
Right. On free planets, probably not. And like gold, it's heavy. So it's a matter of, we've spoken about this before. If they would be able to, even if they would made it back to Earth, would they have the weight to be able to carry that back? Because all the ship and everything that inside of it is be carefully measured for the trip.
Yeah, it'd probably make the ship too heavy to fly, right?
Right. And if he hides it, it's going to be imbalanced.
Mm.
So it'd be heavy if he tells them about it. But knowing Dr. Smith, he would hide it somewhere, which means it would be imbalanced.
Probably. Oh,
So
boy.
he realizes that as he tries to eat, he turns, speaking of sausages, he picks up a sausage with his fork and it turns to platinum. That's when he realizes that it's affecting his food, and he tries to remove the ring from around his neck and is unable to. And then he asks for help. Maureen Robinson inspects the ring and says there's no catch on the back. So apparently there's a way for that catch or the lock appearing and reappearing. But it's too late. So everything Dr. Smith touches now is turning to platinum. So he decides to for once. That's what I was mentioning earlier when I was reading the assessment. Hold on just a moment, guys.
There's a cage match happening between pop culture curators dogs.
It's a stupid food dish. I apologize, guys. Poor Romeo. So Dr. Smith ostracizes himself and decides he's going to go out and just live in the wilderness. This is what I was mentioning earlier. This is the first time, and there is mention of this in the book, that we get a change in character for Dr. Smith that seems to be sincere.
Yeah, because he thinks he's gonna die, so that's why he changes to his tune. His priorities change. Like if he's gonna die anyway,
Exactly.
he's lost all hope for himself. And so the concern that he normally has only for him is he's actually discovered empathy first.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
he can't save himself.
I had the perfect segue. I was muted. My thing wasn't plugged in all the way.
Oh, go
I was
ahead,
gonna
girl.
say- Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of food dishes, remember, Scurvy here says, remember smelling of Troy McClure's clone in The Simpsons?
I don't think I saw
Troy
that.
McClure? Troy McClure.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
what I said.
I'm Troy McClure.
And also, Scurvy says, Jill sausages hopefully won't also turn to platinum.
I wouldn't mind.
That would be worth it, I guess. Yeah, considering the cost. Right, just a few sausages alone.
Yeah,
that'll
I'm
help
not.
with your
I'm
house
not
payment.
lost in. Yeah, I'm not lost in space. I'm good with that. As long
I've
as
seen where
not
some people
everything.
have. Right, I've seen where some people have their wedding rings platinum instead of gold. So people do use it.
Yeah, I think
Or
they
get
just use it sparingly because it's so damn expensive.
it is even to this day. Yes, that is Jill. If it's like the Twilight Zone episode, we ever decide or figure out how to manufacture it. According to Twilight Zone, there's a future episodic episode where we figure out how to manufacture gold and platinum,
Hmm.
and you never know. Of course, if we do, they're not going to tell us, right? So here we have Bullock's returns. So even though Dr. Smith thought he was gone, Bullock's returns, and he's looking for that treasure. And in point, he's also looking for Dr. Smith. And they're telling him that Dr. Smith basically left camp and left the Jupiter 2 because he didn't want to endanger anyone. Bullock does not believe Maureen Robinson. But of course, as we all know, she doesn't lie. She's very sincere. So he does finally believe her story. And there's what I'm talking about. The monsters are just standing around like, oh, well. And then, of course, she's telling the truth. If you just find Dr. Smith, you'll find what you're looking for. And he calls the monster back, and he does believe her. And they decide to go out looking for Dr. Smith. And then Penny decides to run and look for him as well, hoping to find him before Bollocks does, which she does.
Wait a minute.
And then we have.
The police do not.
Well, I could be
he
wrong.
does not. He doesn't. He doesn't believe her. That's why they're getting arrested.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Dr. Smith, this is quoted from the book.
Oh yeah, he's so good at looking pathetic.
Yes, it says that he wants to die, and we believe him. Jonathan Harris delivers a heartfelt performance. Smith begs for death to deliver its sting, quote, sting, a line that, of course, Harris contributed. He cannot bear another moment of life. And as we do that, we have Penny. She comes along and she discovers everything that's been turned to platinum. And she uses that as a trail to locate and find Dr. Smith.
But didn't she have to touch every bush?
I know it. Well, it's like, right, it's like the set designers said, come on, we painted those things. Come on, milk them the best you can. And I'm guessing that's when I start thinking, okay, so when you get a look at those plants, I'm guessing they just went outside and pulled out bushes and brought them into the studio and just painted them silver. Because obviously those are bushes from Earth. And if they painted them platinum for this one episode, they're not going to use them again. The only they're going to use
we're not going to see the platinum bushes in every episode because they definitely don't turn back to normal at the end.
Right, they don't turn back to normal at the end, and you think that Dr. Smith would be finding some ways to chisel them into pieces, right?
Exactly.
You think so?
Like the mirror. Like the mirror that Penny went into. Remember, he went back to Jupiter 2 and got some tools and was going to try to chisel it apart.
That's right.
Yeah, it's so much platinum now. Just getting it back to Earth is the problem.
Right, and now no one's going to stop him. Now the platinum's just right there. He can take it. And now we get to disheveled Dr. Smith. So this is what he looks like after one night out in the open. And of course, the actor, it would have been nice if they would have had time, because I'm sure time was a constraint, obviously, but it would have been nice if they showed him with a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, or a real 5 o'clock shadow, that is, or a little bit of a beard, rather than painting it on with makeup.
Yeah.
Other than that, the makeup looks fairly convincing, and he looks pretty good, and he looks sincere, in my opinion.
Now, I caught something with this scene.
Yes, sir.
Because I was actually watching closely after he turned her into platinum. The whole time you can see her chest moving up and down, and she's swaying a little bit the whole time they did the close-up.
Shame on her.
You can't see it from the far away, but they made the mistake of being close up there, and you can actually see her breathing, and you can see her swaying, trying to hold still.
Right. They should have had... What they could have done was, because they're showing her from the chest up, they could have had her leaning up against something that might have helped stabilize her. And she did a good job of not blinking. I give her credit for that.
She did do a good job. It's just that, aren't they just supposed to edit out the breathing?
No, I just was paying very close attention because of Pop here making me do that, getting me to do
So I
that.
apologize.
It's all Pop's fault.
No, I noticed it too. It's a thing they could have fixed with editing.
It's just like on the Waltons there with the Thanksgiving episode. I caught a 2-second glimpse of a guy in the background. Well, it wasn't even 2 seconds. Glimpse of a guy walking in the background that was in a blue shirt and like jeans.
Oh, and he didn't fit with the era, I guess, of the Depression era.
No, it's some producer got in the shot for like 2 seconds.
Of course, it
It's
happens.
Kind of like on your Gilligan's Island one.
Right. So there we have Dr. Smith, and we have the return of Bollocks. It's odd saying that word, but okay. And no offense to everybody out there. That's the name of the character, Bolix, Bollocks. And what happens is Dr. Smith is coming clean, and he's explaining to the intergalactic law enforcement that the Robinson family had nothing to do with it, that everything that happened was his choosing and his doing, and that he admits guilt, which is surprisingly for Dr. Smith. And it's interesting, too, that you notice they even have his hair combed differently. He doesn't look like the regular Dr. Smith. And more on that in this book here that I was reading. He cannot bear another moment of life. Then Penny's hand reaches out from off camera and touches his shoulder. You are completely justified in finding your emotions cresting and perhaps letting a bit of moisture collect in your eyes. This may be Jonathan Harris's best moment on film. It is arguably Dr. Smith's. So that was from the book. That was from Mark Cushman's point of view.
Yeah, it certainly was a rare, dramatic, kind of straight performance in this scene for Smith. Yeah. Because he played very sincere in this scene, right? Like he really did seem to regret his actions.
He really sells it, and you really get the feeling that he's extremely depressed.
Mm.
And that
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he's doing this for.
Mm.
And that's why he decides to save them from Bollocks.
As with War of the Robots, the magic mirror, which was shot simultaneously by two different crews, Lost in Space would again have to build a 2-episode House of Cards production schedule in order to catch up on its deliveries to CBS. All That Glitters would begin filming on the same day as the next episode on the production roster, The Lost Civilization. So that's why we get, I'm sure you guys were wondering about, that's why the men separating went about their way. And this episode is centered around the women, because that means obviously that those men they're going to be the center of the next episode that we'll get in production order.
I'm glad they do that. It's pretty cool.
Irwin Allen and his staff had learned from their previous experience of filming Robots along with Magic Mirror to be a bit less ambitious. First, there would be very little sharing of the sets between the two productions. One unit would stay on Lost in Space's home turf, which is stages 6 and 11. This would be the crew normally assigned to the series. The other company filming The Lost Civilization would be comprised, that's the next episode for next week, would be comprised of the production crew from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. They would have limited time on stage 6 and 11, only a partial day on each, with most of their production filmed on stage 10 and stage B, both usually assigned to Voyage. On Fox stage 19, second, there would be no sharing of cast members, other than for the cliffhanger for the Space Croppers, filmed as part of the teaser for All That Glitters. The women with Smith would be featured in All That Glitters, while the men, including the robot, would carry The Lost Civilization. As stated earlier, a change took place on the production crew. Cinematographer Gene Polito fell ill and had to be replaced with Winton Hotch, the director of photography for Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Hotch was intended to be in charge of his regular camera crew on The Lost Civilization, but made the move since the Lost in Space producers felt that All That Glitters was the better of the two episodes being filmed and warranted the cinematographer that Irwin Allen knew best and therefore trusted the most. So basically, the next episode, we'll cover that more when we get there, was basically produced by the crew from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
That's a very interesting detail. I never realized that. That's cool.
So here's where we get Dr. Smith. Penny returns to life. She touches him on the shoulder. And of course, he's relieved. Genuinely, he seems relieved that Penny's okay. And even that look on his face, that's not like Dr. Smith. You swear that that's we're either watching a different show or that's Jonathan Harris on a different show. But yeah, he did a really good job selling the end of this, which I agree with what the book said, is that yes, the first part of the episode started out not quite top notch. But I think the way they ended it here, it kind of helped sell it and seal the deal a little bit better too. And I think it helped make it more memorable.
Yeah, Jonathan Harris is really great in this scene. Like I found this quite a touching scene. Actually, that's another thing that elevated my rating was this scene alone, because he was really good. Like, you realize that, damn, the guy's can play a really good dramatic scene when he wants to, right?
Right. Anyway, and also switch from bad guy to good guy. So
Yes.
definitely a range there. Definitely a range.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Kirby here. Says Jill is greedy for platinum.
Why not?
At the time, interviewed for a syndicated newspaper article from April of 1966, Werner Klemperer said he was delighted with the role of a Galaxy enforcement officer. He told the reporter, "I'm appearing on Lost in Space for several reasons. It's a fairly straight part, and I needed a change of pace after a season of comedy. It's also a reunion with some old friends. June Lockhart, Guy Williams, Jonathan Harris, and director Harry Harris. June was one of my victims when I played one of the heavies on Studio One. Guy and I share a strong interest in classical music, and I've known Jonathan for a long time. Harry Harris and I are in a director's study group together, and frankly, the salary will help finance my trip to Europe in a few weeks. I'm going to visit my family in Zurich and see my father, orchestra conductor Otto Klemperer, conduct in Munich." So that's nice. He enjoyed the role, so that's always good. Well, I've got a lot of pictures here I need to share, which I'll be doing close to the end here as we get. So we have pretty much Dr. Smith coming clean, and then we have his character arc. And he's apologizing to Penny, and he's going to turn over a new leaf, as Mrs. Robinson says, for at least a few seconds, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Right. And then we're all wondering, is he really? I mean, this is Dr. Smith, right? So he does get a little, a bit in there, like kind of like what we were talking about the leftover platinum bushes and rock, where he decides to keep this one souvenir, and he says, I can't remember the line exactly, but he says he's going to keep this one piece here.
Someone might as well have it.
That's right. And it might as well be me. That's right. Like a child.
Well, I do believe that he was genuine when he said he wants to be new and he wants to turn over a new leaf, but it won't last long, obviously, because we have to have the next episode. But we get, maybe he's good for this entire, I don't know. Well, we'll see in the next, we'll see in a couple of episodes what happens.
A couple episodes, right. We don't know what's going on during the next one, so who knows what he's doing back at the Jupiter, too. So we cut back to our...
This is ostensibly happening at the same time as this episode.
Correct. Right. And even in the last episode, or in this episode that we just watched, Maureen mentions that the men will be back in a few days. So that's kind of hinting to us that this next episode is going to play out within that timeline of a few days. And now is where we get our trailer for next week, our bumper, teaser, cliffhanger. They're out exploring, and the men are out exploring, and it looks like they stumble across a volcano. And I'm sure a lot of you guys recognize the effects footage. The exterior footage was used in some of the first few episodes. and they just turned down the f-stop on the camera to darken the film to make it look like dark time or nighttime. And then we get a little bit of stock footage of a volcano erupting, and they decided that there's a lot of lava and objects shooting from the volcano, and they're trying to get their way around it and avoid it being hit. And there we go. It's pretty spectacular. But unfortunately, the chariot somehow managed to get jammed, and the engine dies, and Professor Robinson, they're all in a panic mode. And the robot's warning them, danger, danger, and explaining to them about the volcano. And here's where Professor Robinson struggles to get, I love that shot there at the end. Professor Robinson is unable to get the engine started. And just as he does that, he yells them all to duck cover as a fireball comes flying towards the chariot. And with that, I want to remind everybody that I did, hopefully it's still there, I did put a poll in the chat for you guys to vote if you feel so inclined. Let us know what you thought about this episode or about our coverage of this episode. And we will cover that. I'm going to go around it like I usually do and have everybody on the panel here give their little mini review of what they thought about this episode and perhaps their rating. So let me, I usually go clockwise. So in this case, I'm going to start with good old PvP. PvP. What rating would you give this, and what did you think about it?
I gave it a B plus. I thought it was well, it was not a perfect episode for me. As you mentioned in the book, the first part, I wasn't totally sold on, but once Smith got the the platinum collar thingy and started on his road to despair, that did kind of pick it up. Plus, I really loved having the ladies in the show finally get to have some scenes and actually do something because they often don't. So that was fun, and seeing Marine blast one of the monsters was cool. Geez, let me see. And I really enjoyed the dramatic stuff with Jonathan Harris playing Smith as kind of straight for once instead of going for the comedy. So that was really cool. So there were a lot of good things in it. The only reason I kept it out of the A range was because there are episodes I do like a lot more. So that kind of kept it down. But yeah, I'd say it was good, strong B plus episode. Some of the stuff though, I like the thief. The only reason he seemed to be in it actually was to basically provide the ring for Smith in the latter part of the episode. So he didn't really do a lot, and then he got captured so quickly, and we never hear about him again. So it didn't seem like a very crucial character. I thought Warner Klemper as Bollocks was, get a decent dramatic performance and nice change of pace from Colonel Klink. But I didn't think it was one of the most riveting characters in Lost in Space ever. So yeah, I guess that's about it. I give it a B plus.
Very cool. Thank you for doing that, Gorilla. I'm over here trying to get the teaser ready for next week. PvP, while we're at it, would you like to share with us a little info about your channel?
Well, I finally did get a music playlist of my songs that are around 3 minutes or less uploaded over the weekend. So that's something finally, and I started working on a second one, which maybe I'll get up sometime around the next weekend in a few days. But other than that, not really too much exciting stuff to report actually. So that's pretty much it for now, I guess.
All right, Jill.
Yeah, I also gave it a B plus. I found some joy in having the lady astronauts in charge this time, and learned a very important lesson in not trusting any secrets with Penny. Hopefully, that's not a continuing character trait, but it was just a repeat of the old lesson to not trust Dr. Smith, of course, with anything. So robbing from the thief gave him that important lesson of the detriments of greed. And of course, he gets like the Twilight Zone. Reason I gave this episode as high as I do is because it kind of reminds me of the Twilight Zone episode, the one The one where the need one where all the items are cursed for whatever reason because of the bad traits of the people who and the reasons that they want the items. But unfortunately, of course, we know that Dr. Smith is going to forget all about it next time. Next time we see him, he'll be fine. And and I enjoyed the artificial
course.
intelligence that voice the device and the replicator like functions of turning any matter into platinum. That would be fun. At least that's the way I'm choosing to see it, just to give it a science fiction spin. I kind of throw a little headcanon into this episode in order to get past some of the more fantastical elements of it, and it works for me. And oh, my daughter's here. She needs me to open an orange. I will do that as I talk to you about the episode.
Sounds good.
I know.
Okay, so and the ring, losing the catch and closing up. Well, I couldn't figure out how to explain that one away. I guess it's also part of the replicator technology. But oh no, I have to sneeze. Hold on.
Go for it.
Oh. Yeah, so anyhow, Taylor's giving us that person turquoise waving thing again.
Oh, thank you, Taylor.
I don't know if it shows up on YouTube or not, but it does not show up on StreamYard. Here, I'll check YouTube while we're waiting for Jill.
Appreciate that.
I had an allergy attack. I still have it. Just a moment.
Take your time, Jill. It's fine.
Ava is attacking me at this moment. So I had the same complaint as PvP in terms of not getting to know much about our thief. He kind of left the episode thinking the whole family betrayed him, and he never gets his device back, or we don't know what happens to it. It just gets thrown on the ground. I guess Will's gonna find it later, so see what he makes of it. And the other part I didn't like about this episode is that several of the plot elements and the dialogue were repeated over and over again on more than one occasion, as if the writer of the episode was worried that I wasn't paying attention the first time. If I don't know what the deal with that was, so that's how. Otherwise, I probably would have bumped it to an A.
That's probably for people like me.
So I think actually this would have been fantastic as a 20-minute animated story or something. I think it would have been really cool because of all of those repetitions. You didn't really need them. Otherwise, it had all the elements I'm looking for in a Lost in Space episode, even without the robot. Although I did miss him. And Jonathan Harris was exceptional at looking completely pathetic and becoming a hero as a result of his emotional turmoil. So that was really great. And I'm glad that we're going to see what the boys were up to this whole time next time. But one of the questions I had is, after this, does the ring disappear when someone else wishes for something? Or is this really the greatest treasure in the galaxy? Because it seems more like a curse. I guess we'll never really know.
Well, if you're not going to use it for greed, then it would be
right. You just have to be a good person, right? That is the theory. That is the best theory.
Like if you're going to use the platinum to better your race, then yeah, it'd be a blessing.
Yeah, so if you just make sure to have good intentions all of the time, even the best person is going to slip up, which is why I call it a curse. And so my channel is Antiderivative Jill. Tomorrow I'm going to be reviewing the Star Trek, the original series episode, The Paradise Syndrome. And so that's going to be a bunch of fun. So come check me out over there, and we'll go through, we'll analyze it and see what kind of parallels we can bring from today to it, and just have a good time. And on Friday, Friday, I think we're gonna look at Alien 3. And that's all.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so is there something about Alien 3 that making you want to cover that first?
Because Scotty R37 really loves that movie, and I remember not really liking it that much. So we'll
Oh,
see what happens.
no, that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jill.
Welcome. I have to step away now, so
Absolutely.
I'll be back.
Go for it.
Or,
All right, your turn, Gorilla. What do you think?
all right, just a sec here. Exit solo. Well, as you can see from my subtitle here, what I thought of the episode, I give it an A plus. I don't know how many pluses I put in there.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, sir.
No, I was just really enjoying it. Like when we first start, you get the Dr. Smith normal himself deciding to hide behind children. There, whenever there's any danger, there he's using them as human shields.
Of
But then
course.
you get the women putting him in his place and just plain out insulting him. Fine, you get behind us, women. We'll take care of this, But you gotta love a King Michelin and story arc there, even though if the trope's been used over and over and over again. You gotta love the old trope there. And it gets you thinking that ring there, it says it's the greatest treasure, which I tell Jill, it could be a blessing to help out the out of civilization, or it could be a curse to those greedy enough to use it. But who's to say it only
True.
does platinum too? Because because that those I was thinking maybe the reason that it does platinum is because that's what Dr. Smith treasures is platinum because it's worth so much. Who's to say it couldn't do gold, iron, copper, whatever your needs are at the moment if you're not using it for complete greediness there. And I didn't even know that was Colonel Klink in there. But the first thing I was seeing him anyway is talk to him. The first thing, because I haven't seen Logan's Heroes, the only thing I've seen was I know nothing. And I will have laughed if they would have done him. I would laughed really hard if they would have done him homage to that. But that episode might not have came out by then either. But that was. But it's great that we had Colonel Klink in there. You had some great monsters in the suits. And their weapons were useless against them. That made a point. And this was a penny centric episode, which made all the great. Dr. Smith got that change to go. I could, if I don't change my ways, I could actually die there.
Right.
So this was a great episode for me.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it did have a lot of good points. Gorilla did make some points about some of the good qualities of the episode. Definitely, yep.
And would you like to share us a little bit of details about your channel there, Gorilla?
All right, well, I'm gonna start doing more shorts. I need 2 more subscribers before I will sing. What was it? It's raining men here for pops. Because for my
Mhm.
600
Well, okay,
celebration, I'll
that's a
be
deal.
singing it's raining men. So I need 2 more subscribers for that. I am at 598. I had one short really take off. It's almost close to 12,000 views.
Nice.
Very
There,
nice. Which one is that?
oh, it's the one where I seen it. I seen the video there. Some idiot. The railroad
Twitter.
crossing.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. Go ahead.
Yeah, the guy had the railroad crossings were closed. Indicating a train's coming. He decided to pick his bike up there. They squeezes himself through the gates there, and right when he's about ready to cross the tracks there, the train goes by, missing him by about an inch. There, and the comments have been thoroughly interesting on that one there.
Oh boy.
But
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
gonna try to do more shorts. I might upload some more clips I find there. They're like it's a trap or what does God need with the Starship clips like that. Little short couple second ones.
Right.
That because CBS didn't pick up on those, so or Disney.
No.
But
That's good.
but anyhow, then I will be resuming Justified on Wednesday. Justified back. So then on Friday we are our Walton's episode we're reviewing is The Bequest, where Grandma learns that she's going to be inheriting a small fortune.
Ooh.
So that's one of the episodes I remember. It's a really good one from what I remember. But we'll see how much I remember how much I end up playing into the episode. But anyhow,
Very
that's
cool.
I'm not sure about Saturday yet because my parents are coming down there. So I'm gonna be spending some time with my mom while my dad's out chasing Bambi. But
Oh, your dad's
then
gonna do some hunting, huh?
yeah, every year.
Oh,
Except,
well, that's cool. You get some of the meat.
they might give me a tenderloin or something.
Cool.
But
Very cool.
no, yeah, my dad goes the first weekend in November. He always goes hunting there. Except the one year he's yelled at Lacey. He told her he was gonna go hunting whether she's getting married or not. But my aunt had to yell at him. My aunt had to really yell at him for that one. But so I'm not sure about Babylon 5. What would you call the arms? But then on Sunday we are watching American Pie.
And is that the first one?
Yes, that's the one
Okay,
with the.
nice.
We're gonna watch the ones with the original cast. The spin-off. We're not gonna watch the spin-offs.
Yeah,
That
I like
makes
those
sense.
films. They're
Yeah,
funny.
and I can understand they did kind of get weaker after a while there.
Well, the original one, the ones with the original cast are pretty good, but then the ones with the not the original characters like Bandcamp, The Naked Mile, Book of Love, and there's another one there.
I didn't even watch that many of them. I think I
Beta
stopped
House.
after the second.
Okay. Well,
Well,
they had
they went direct to video, didn't they? Those later ones, Gorilla.
yeah, they had like Bandcamp, Beta House, The Naked Mile, and The Book of Love and all that. They're all right. They're your standard TNA film. I mean, like I own them, but they're like your standard TNA film. They're nothing special.
Yeah, I was never. It's funny you mentioned that because when I was younger, like let's say like the 80s, I had friends that they loved those TNA movies like Meatballs with Bill Murray, and there was a whole bunch of them at the time. I was never into them because it seemed like they were more into just showing nudity, and the jokes just for me fell very flat. But I guess I'm just an old fuddy duddy.
Well, that was one thing. I agree, Pop. Like, I hated teenage sex comedies. Like, I just found them boring for the most part, right? Because they were mostly badly written. But for me, American Pie was a totally different thing because the writing is actually really good, and the cast on the first four films, the theatrical ones, were actually really a solid cast. And it wasn't just all about comedy. There was some dramatic elements in as well, which kind of boosted it. And and then you had Eugene Levy as the father, right? From SCTV here in Canada, and
SCTV, yeah.
he is hilarious in those movies. He probably makes the films. Actually, he's really great in those. So yeah, I like those films. They make me laugh.
I agree. I like the anything with the old SCTV cast in it. I really was a big fan of. Okay, well, thank you for sharing your channel with us, Gorilla. I appreciate it. So everybody, check out those channels. Check out PvP's channel, Pleasant Valley Picker CA on YouTube. Also check out Antiderivative Jill on YouTube. You'll find me. Hopefully, if everything works. Oh, I've got an appointment tomorrow. That's right. Jill's got her. They're picking me up at 10 o'clock, right at the same time Jill's stream is starting. So yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make her stream tomorrow. Oh my god. But yeah, check out tomorrow on Tuesdays at noon Central Time. Jill covers Star Trek TOS, and as you heard from Gorilla's Random Thoughts, there, do check out his channel as well. He's got a lot of things, Everybody has quite a great variety of things to share. And my review of this episode is I'll give it a B. I did enjoy it. And I'm sure, of course, I'll be covering a lot of things that what people already said. Was it did start out kind of slow, but I did like the fact that we got an episode that was centered around the women. They were able to showcase their acting talents for a change. Maureen was able to take charge. We got to see her fire a gun, which I really liked. It was nice to see Werner Klemper. I'm also a Hogan's Heroes fan, and I'm a Werner. It was good to see Werner Klemper in a different role. I've seen him in other roles, but it was the fact that this was filmed simultaneously at the same time as Hogan's Heroes, but he played a little more straight-laced and not the buffoon, I guess you could say. He was more of a buffoon on Hogan's Heroes. I know it was kind of funny that the monsters just stood around most of the time. Oh, these phones. I apologize, guys. And overall, it was good. It was a fairly good, solid episode. I've seen worse TV shows. It's definitely better than anything that I can see that's made now. As you guys know, I'd rather watch the classics than modern day television or movies. So it's still enough to make me happy. And as far as my channel is concerned, I won't be able to make Jill's stream tomorrow. But tomorrow night, I'm hoping, I don't know, it's Halloween night. I know everybody's going to be busy. Nobody's going to be home. But I'm hoping that we can cover the movie Hatchet, hopefully, as a pleasant surprise to everyone. Because I know most of my subs have not seen it yet. And the whole point is I'm hoping to introduce them to things that are new. Kind of enlighten them to the whole world. There's so many horror movies out there that a lot of people have not seen yet. And if everything works out, Wednesday I'll be doing Returning to Gilligan's Island. I'll be doing Gilligan's Island with my good buddy Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I'm having to deal with these stupid copyright garbage with YouTube, which I'm going to continue doing because I've got some small redneck channel in the one TV station in Louisiana that keeps going after my streams for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm going to do the best I can to try to get to the bottom of that. And then Saturday, I will be back with, hopefully if everything works right, with another Rumblings from the Lab. And then, of course, back again next Monday for another episode of Lost in Space. And we are nearing the end of the first season. So I've got to get that book ordered because I've been reading about, from this book, Lost in Space, authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series. I mean, but this is a big, thick book. I mean, it's like as thick as the Bible, but it's only volume 1 and it covers only season 1. So I think I'll do that here in the next couple of days. The next couple of days, I'll cover it. I'll get the book ordered for season 2, and then I'll have it, excuse me, nice and ready to go when we get there. And as a reminder, everybody, is I did put a link in the chat. What is going on here? Okay. Gorilla, can you try to reduce me? Because this won't let me. I don't know what's going on with my StreamYards. There. Thank you. Yeah. It wouldn't let me reduce. I was having trouble getting onto the stream, and now it's some of my controls are like going on and up. I'm not really sure what's going on. But I'm going to share the results to the poll that I had to chat. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And if you voted, I really appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to end poll. Bear with me, everyone. I'll do that now. I also have a couple stills that I'm going to share from this episode if I can get that to work right, as well as the teaser for next week's. All right, so here we go. Here we have the results of our poll. It looks like we had 11 votes. Thank you for voting once again, everybody. What grade would you give All That Glitters? And it looks like 45% voted a B plus to a B minus, and 36% voted A plus to A minus. 18% voted C plus to C minus, and we had 0 rated any lower than that, which is a good thing. So it looks like generally people enjoyed it, which always makes me happy. If you're watching this on a rerun, I hope you enjoyed the stream. please consider hitting the like button. And if you haven't done so already, maybe consider subbing to my channel. I've got a lot of other content out there, quite the variety, and it's growing every week. All right. So now, if I can do this without messing it up, I'm going to share a few screens here with some these are behind the scenes photos from this episode that were taking place on the set. So there we have Werner Klemper with Dr. Smith handing it up.
That's good. That's a great photo. Hilarious.
And let's see here. I got another one here for us to enjoy. Now here's a couple pictures of Penny getting the makeup applied for the platinum or the silver makeup.
Oh, wow.
And as you can see by the look on her face, she seems to be having a great time, which is always a good thing. It's not very often we get the behind the scenes look at some of the makeup masters on Lost in Space.
Hmm.
And here's another one from the same makeup session, it looks like. So it looks like, I guess, more than one person applied the makeup. And she's patiently sitting there in the chair. I'm sure that'd be very painstaking to have that makeup done. So I shout out to the actresses for that. It takes a lot of stamina, and obviously the makeup itself is not very comfortable. So I think it was a nice touch, the fact that they got her to do that they were able to. All right, here, I'm almost done, guys.
Oh, Scurvy says, "Oh, yeah."
Yes, that's the right show. And there we get Werner Klemper looking a little more like he did on Hogan's Heroes without the hat. This is what I was talking about, where he's vaulting on top. And I thought this is a nice touch here with Jonathan Harris scooping around with them.
It looks like they were having a great lot of fun that day, for sure.
Hey, maybe
It does
that's
look
what
like it.
Dr. Smith's screaming. Hogan.
Probably so, right?
That's what it
And
looks like.
that would be the
Yeah,
look.
it's
It
great.
does. That is the look that Clink would have too when Hogan's are right. Well,
It's a
usually
classic.
if you're watching Hogan's Heroes, usually it's Clink saying Hogan to Hogan. But that does, if anything, it was always the character General Bullcarter, always chastising Colonel Clink. So if anything, he might be saying Clink. And there we have. There's some behind the scenes photos there. I hope that kind of helped cheered up your evening, everybody. And I know Jill's still away from the camera, away from the StreamYards. But I'm going to go and end this, and I'll be closing it with a teaser for next week. I hope you're able to make it next week. I hope you had a good time tonight. I hope you're able to make it next week. Let me get everything ready here, if I can do this without messing it up again. Always certain steps I've got to do. Bear with me here, everybody. Okay, there we go. I'll bring it up now. Is there anything you guys want to add before we close this out?
No.
Is that a
I
no?
can't think of anything.
No, I'm good too.
Okay, well, there you are, Jill. Good. I was hoping you'd be here for when we show the teaser. We're going to be showing the teaser for next week.
I was here for a minute. I gotta go again.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. I know you're busy and Mom's got the family to take care of. So here we are. Here is we're going to close this out. And like I usually say, everybody, take care, drive safe, especially if you have to work tomorrow. And I'm going to end this with the our preview for for next week. Which will be next week, which we'll cover on next Monday.
Oh, no sound.
No sound?
I'm not hearing anything on my end here.
Let me crank it up here. Thank you for pointing that out. Let me go back. Now, I hope you can hear this.
It's a little better, but still pretty low.
Actually, there was no sound, right?
Very little. Very, very,
All right.
very faint.
I realized what I did wrong. Bear with me, guys. I apologize for that. It's a bug within YouTube that I had forgotten about. Oh, come on. I didn't close that.
Okay.
Right. I have to show, when I show a video, it's got to be a certain way or it doesn't work. So I have to, instead of saying share screen, I have to say video file and then locate it. That's right. I'm a little rusty. I'll get us going here. Here we go.
Danger! 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 Planet Quake! Kiss the girl.
The ancient prophecy has been fulfilled. The warriors, like their princess, are returning to life. No less than the conquest of the entire universe.
One's personal safety is of no consequence.